Our coverage now out of Georgia. This is the case against Teresa Black. The 46-year-old defendant stands accused of killing her 6-year-old son. Imagine this. It happens way back in '99. No matter how it happened, you're Teresa Black. You're thinking, I'm out of this. Well, the case is cold for 23 years, in part due to her son's decomposition. It couldn't identify him. So once she was arrested, and that was I was going to say last year, but it was actually 2022, she really talks about how he was sick and he died while she was taking care of him. She's pled not guilty to these charges. So let's get back into court now, listen to the testimony. This is the defendant's ex-husband.
My name is Teresa Black. That's Luquese. Last name Black, B-L-A-C-K.
Good morning, Mr. Black.
How you doing?
Good. I want to speak with you about where you're from.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
And at some point, did you move away from Charlotte?
Yes, I did, to better my life.
All right, and where did you go?
I went to Alaska.
Alaska? Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then after Alaska, where did you move to?
Had a family altercation, so I came back home.
And then home is where?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
And so, you were born in Charlotte. How long before you left to go to Alaska were you living in Charlotte?
I've been in Charlotte all my life.
Okay, until you moved to Alaska?
Yeah.
I want to speak with you about Teresa Black. How do you know Teresa Black?
I met this young lady when we was younger, 92.
All right. And who was she to you back in 1992?
Just a friend.
Just a friend. All right. And did you all date in 1992?
No, ma'am.
At some point, did you all begin to date?
Yeah.
What year did you begin to date Teresa?
It was in 04.
2004. And did you all take your relationship to another level?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Can you tell the jury about that?
We met in 2004.
Well, you met back up.
We met back up in 2004. Had jobs, both changing our lives around. 2005, we got married and had a beautiful daughter.
And what's your daughter's name?
Teresa Black.
And when you all got married, what state were you all living in at the time?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
And when you got married, and before you had your daughter, were you aware if Teresa had any other children?
I was aware that she had a child, but
When did you become aware that she had that child? Did you become aware at the time you all first began to date, or after you all were married?
After we was married.
So during your dating phase, did Teresa ever tell you that she had a child?
Yeah, like when we first started back talking, she admitted that she did have a child.
Okay. And did she tell you that child's name?
Yeah.
And what was that child's name?
Lil William. That's what we called him.
Lil William.
Yeah.
All right. And you said that's who we call. That's who called. You said that's what we call him. Who is we?
My family, her. I mean, that's what we represented him as, Lil William. That's how we knew him.
Okay. And this was around 2004?
Yes.
All right. Where did you meet Teresa?
Double Oaks.
Is that a neighborhood in Charlotte?
An old neighborhood in Charlotte off Statesville Avenue.
So you met her from being in the neighborhood?
Yes.
All right. She also told you that his name, when you all refer to him as Lil Will, did she tell you what his age was back in 2004?
I think she did. I just can't remember.
Was it in the teenage age range or the early toddler age range? What was?
He was in the early teen, I believe.
And did you ever meet him in person?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Did Teresa ever tell you where Lil William was staying?
Yeah.
Where was he staying?
He was supposed to be in Atlanta, with his family members. I believe that was either her family members or William's family members, his dad.
All right. Do you recall which family member he was with? Was it uncle, auntie, grandmother, grandfather?
At that time, it had to be like older people, like his grandparents or something like that.
All right, so you and Teresa get married. How long before or how long after you got married did you all move to Alaska?
We got married 2005. We had a daughter there, I say about March.
Of what year?
March of 2005 is when we went to Alaska.
And do you recall what month you got married?
February.
February. So a month later, you all moved to Alaska.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, was your daughter born or was
Yes.
she was born?
Yes. She was born January 27th.
Of 2005?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you all moved to to Alaska, were you and Teresa living together with your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
And was that a house in a neighborhood or in another metropolitan neighborhood within Charlotte?
We stayed in a different metropolitan area.
And do you recall if that the area that you all were living in, was that close to the neighborhood where you met Teresa or some distance?
Both of them was some distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
At some point, let me back up. How was the relationship with you and Teresa and your child when you all were living in Charlotte?
Judge, objection to relevancy and character evidence.
What's the relevance? Well, Your Honor, may we actually approach or speak outside?
Yeah, all right, I'm sorry guys, I gotta send you back to the jury room for a minute while we handle this matter. My apologies.
Okay, let's try to connect the dots here on some of the Teresa Ann Black family labels here. We've got this guy on the stand was not the father of William Deshaun Hamilton. He was married to Teresa Ann Black in 2005, met in 2004, and it sounded like he had been told that Lil William was staying with relatives in another part of Georgia, in Atlanta. That's what I got out of that. So if that is true, there was some sort of attempt to kind of create this fiction that Lil William was still around even then. Katherine Lizardo is here, Rich Schoenstein. Katherine, tell me if I got that wrong. That's what I gleaned from his testimony.
That's what I understood from his testimony as well. He wasn't even sure whether William was living with the dad's side or his mom's side. So what's interesting is when you're connecting his testimony with the aunt's testimony earlier, the aunt was told that William was living with a godfather, and now here that then husband was told that William was living with other family members. So we can see that there is definitely an active concealment of where William was and trying to pretend that he was still alive when sadly he was already a missing cold case at that time.
And Rich, I would think, if I'm representing Ms. Black, concealment is a home run. That's a win here. And if that's all they get to from the prosecution standpoint, then they really overcharged. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that might be a defense strategy, is basically to give up on concealment and then shrug your shoulders and say, but that doesn't prove she had anything to do with the murder. That just proves she was concealing something or hiding something bad that happened. So maybe that is the strategy. It looks like it does look like a pretty straightforward concealment case from what we've heard so far.
Right. And to be honest, I'll have to do some research. I don't know the penalty. I don't think it's very severe, but. Right. A sad story all the way around, and we're going to continue the coverage out of Georgia. We have yet another character in the lineage here. We'll get back to more testimony from the ex-husband. Also, I believe coming up, we'll have some testimony from the father of Lil William. Let's take a break. We'll come right back.